Greetings, Kentucky-Tennessee Conference Church family. In this continued reality of being forced to largely remain separated personally from the conference congregations and church members that I love and want very much to serve and support, I wanted to take a moment here at the start of the new year and personally share a few words of encouragement. I'm certain you've noticed it because, like me, without choice, you've had to live it, and it's not been easy. What is the it I'm referring to? Well, it is the incredible and rapid transformation of our lives that has swept across America in the past year. Hard to believe, but yes, it's been just short of a year from when we first became acquainted with what feels like a nightmare that you can't wake up from. A world event eventually labeled as COVID-19, or more simply referred to as the virus. It's altered the very fabric of our lives and relationships and changed the means and methods by which we're attempting to do mission and ministry. As if the COVID crisis wasn't enough, as a society, we're wading through the turbulent waters of political and social upheaval that's been painful, unsettling, and seemed to threaten to permanently divide our country. These are difficult days, and we rightly pray for peace and harmony, for a restoration of the more settled, predictable, and seemingly better days before the virus, before politics that have seemed to separate us more than unite us. So if your prayer has been for a return to what we might call normalcy and safety, I join you in that same prayer. But I wonder if we should add a second prayer, very different than this first one. By that I mean, should we add to our prayer that our land and our lives be restored to what it once was, a prayer that instead of a return to predicted normalcy, will be a petition to God that takes us without delay to what He's ultimately planned, to the promised new world and eternal kingdom described in the final chapters of Revelation, a wonderful reality that John describes with these words in chapter 21. He writes, "Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the result of this earth, redemption," described just a few verses later in this description. It's a place where God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There will be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Well, this is my point in sharing. Together with you, I can't wait for the one who promised, "I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go, I'll come again." Yes, I want a settled, happy, predictable, peaceful life. But I need to remember that for we who wait with longing hearts for this great promised reunion, I need to be reminded that troublesome times will precede the arrival of our King. As quoted from the book Counsels to the Church, Ellen White made this observation: "We're living in the time of the end. The fast fulfilling signs of the times declare that the coming of Christ is near at hand. The days in which we live are solemn and important. Spirit of God is gradually but surely being withdrawn from the earth. Plagues and judgments are already falling upon the despisers of the grace of God. The calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of society, the alarms of war are portentous. They forecast approaching events of the greatest magnitude. Great changes are soon to take place in our world, and the final movements will be rapid ones." Here's my concluding thought. I hope one that encourages you and challenges you just as it does me. I'm praying this year regularly, claiming the promise of 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, where it says, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land." I hope you'll join me in praying this year a prayer which claims this ancient promise for healing for continued prosperity. Yet, shouldn't we also recognize that this world is not our home? And that these present hours are a time when God is moving this nation and this world toward its final conclusion. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus reminds his disciples, his followers of 2,000 years ago, and reminds his followers in the year 2021 with these words, I quote, "When you see these things begin to happen, lift up your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." Praise God. His plan continues to unfold. May we be energized and committed in these tough days to being a part of God's final plans of redeeming his people. May the Lord bless and keep each of you, those whom you love, safe and faithful in the important days that lie just ahead.